Hi friends, sairam app. இது ஒரு green social media. இது Facebook மாதிரி ஒரு social media platform. இதுல pictures, videos and voice chat roomலாம் இருக்கு. இதுல account open பண்ணி verify வாங்குற ஒவ்வொரு users பேர்லயும் ஒரு மரக்கன்று நடப்படும். இத sign up பண்ணி account open பண்ணும்போது verification email வரும். அத verification பண்ணா மட்டும் தான் account open ஆகும். நீங்க என்ன user name கொடுக்குறீங்களோ அதை கொடுத்து தான் login பண்ணணும். email address போடக்கூடாது. account open பண்ணி cover photo, profile picture எல்லாம் வச்சு ரெகுலரா ஆக்டிவேட்டா இருந்தா மட்டும் தான் அது verified accountல எடுத்துக்கொள்ளப்படும். அதர் ஆப்ஸ்ல அப்லோட் பண்ணாத வாட்டர்மார்க் இல்லாத ஓன் கண்டென்ட் வீடியோ போட்டு வெரிஃபை வாங்குற யூசர்ஸ்க்கு கிஃப்ட் உண்டு. அது என்ன கிஃப்ட் அப்படிங்கறத அந்த ஆப்ல மெசேஜ் வரும். sairam app லிங்க் டிஸ்கிரிப்ஷன்ல இருக்கு, டவுன்லோட் பண்ணிக்கங்க. sairam app iOS and Google Play Storeலயும் இருக்கு, டவுன்லோட் பண்ணிக்கங்க.
It's just the air. If that air leaves the body, then even if 4 people lift it and make it to stand, it will not stand. Hence, we know that the air is the foundation for us to speak, to walk and to run. One has to capture that air. Life comes into this world only by the help of air. When a baby is ready for delivery, the top portion of the head will close. Then the breathing air supplied by the mother through the umbilical cord to the baby starts pushing the top of the head of the baby. Otherwise, the baby will die. Because of the pushing air, the baby brings its head and hands outside. Hence, we can say only the air brought you into this world, and it is this air helping you to lead your life also. It is the main reason to lose your life in this world. The venerated divine poet Thiruvalluvar emphasized the same point in the following couplet from his magnum opus, Thirukkural. Varumunnar kaavadaan vaalkai, unprotected person's life, erimunnar vaithoru pola kedum, destroyed like a haystack kept before the fire. It is a reality that we have taken birth. Similarly, it is a reality that we have to leave this world. In between the birth and death, one has to realize the God. Otherwise, our life will be destroyed like a haystack close to the fire. However, we listen to all these advice and continue to lead our life as we like it without any change. It is because our mind is unable to get rid of these desires. If one practices their mind that I am satisfied with whatever I have got is sufficient for me, then you can establish a link with God. As long as one is lamenting that I didn't get this, I didn't get that, this is not right for me, it has gone away from me, such a person will forget the God. We are within ourselves and we are refusing to search for it. We are continuously searching for our body. Our Gurunadhar is repeatedly telling the same thing. In the life of Ramana Maharishi, his father died at his young age. He was looking at the body and started calling him, but the body is not responding. I had already informed you that the Nadam, the divine melody arm, is ruling you as well as the world. Ramana Maharishi as a boy started thinking that his father's body is there. Whenever I used to call him in the past, he used to reply to me. Now I am calling and there is no reply from him. Then who is my father? The body is there. Who am I? This question made him to come to Tiruvannamalai at the age of 13 and found the answer. He spread the message to the world and died at the age of 70 as a Jnani. He is famous even today. One has to be like that. He is an example for a Jnani. His mother started searching all over the place for him and somebody told her that he is in Tiruvannamalai. She came to Tiruvannamalai and found him in solitude. She cried, lamented and fainted. Ramana Maharishi was just looking at her without moving. All his disciples begged him that your mother has come and is suffering. How can he simply sit looking at all these without giving any reply? Then Ramana Maharishi, without speaking a word, wrote the following immortal words in a piece of paper. I will go in the ways as I had come. You please go in the way from where you had come. Look what we are doing. We are attached to our spouse and children. At any point in time, people are looking for a partner as soon as one of the spouses is departed. How can we reach God if you have this kind of worldly desires? He is telling his own mother, you please go in the way from where you had come. And we are unable to tell it to our spouse. Ancient Siddhar conveyed the same in the following stanza. Pendati oru peruvilangu, pillaigal oru sullani. Wife is a large handcuff and children are pricking pins. இவை நீக்கி சுகம் பெறுவது எக்காலம். O Lord, when will I be away from them to attain the eternal bliss? Our spouse comes from different family and you can avoid them by telling some reasons. The dolls, our children, made by both of you, will continue to prick like pricking pins in your flesh throughout your life. Then how can you find comfort and pleasure in your life? They will not allow you to embark on the path of God realization. For doing yogam, if you sit for an hour in your home, your spouse will tell you, why are you sitting idle? Why don't you go out do something to earn some money? Then only we can buy many things and live in comfort. For those to start yogic practice, they have to make up their mind like a granite stone. You should not feel affection and mercy. At the same time, you should be simple. How can you do all these things? Ancient Siddhar conveyed the idea of real comfort in the following lines of a stanza. Agangaram ulladakki ஐம்புலனை சுட்டறுத்து restrain the ego within and burn out the five senses. தூங்காமல் தூங்கிச் சுகம் பெறுவது எக்காலம். When will I attain the eternal bliss? By sleeping without the sleep. One should not sleep, but at the same time sleep. How is it possible? There is a state of sleeping in between sleeping and awakening. It is called sleeping with full knowledge or consciousness. Arituyul. For this to happen, one must have a mind in a mellowed state. Same time, one must keep mind black granite stone towards the worldly desires and affection. Ancient Siddhar advises to melt our mind towards God as conveyed in the very famous line of a stanza. Kadalagi kasindu kannir malgi, brimming eyes with a tear of the melting love. One should not keep the feeling about God simply in our speech or simply by reading scriptures. One cannot reach God because God is not there in any of these books. Only the description of God is there in these scriptures. One has to learn all these and become proficient in them. However, you must put all your efforts in finding God, which is inside yourself. Disciple. What are the states of the Vindu? Guru. The melody of inner sound, called Nadam, becomes Guru when one witnesses the wonder of the state of the Vindu. What are the states of the Vindu? The physical Vindu, sperm, for males and the gametes or the egg cells. The physical Vindu, which is sperm for males and the gametes or the egg cells for the females, contain the five basic elements, namely earth, water, fire, air and space. It also has five tastes like sweetness, bitterness, salty, sour and abrasion. No other object has all these in the same time in the world. Vindu is responsible for all the procreation in this world. Vindu is responsible for the procreation of not only human beings, but also for all living beings. Vindu is the seed for all. Human beings use it for bodily pleasures mostly. Vindu can be used not only for pleasure, but also for God realization when it merges with the Sukshma Vindu or Nadam at the top of the head. That is the reason for stating that the melody of the inner sound Nadam, Am, becomes Guru when one witnesses the wonder of the state of the Vindu. The wonder happens when the Kundalini Shakti pushes the physical Vindu by the constant pressure of the heated breath by the power of Raja Yogam, breathing to the top of the head through the Sukshma Nadi at the center of the spinal cord to the top of our head and merges with the Sukshma Vindu, which is Nadam. During this merger, one loses the consciousness of the physical world. At that point in time, one hears the inner melody, Nadam, Am, continuously inside their body. When the mind travels along with the inner melody, Nadam, one traverses back to the state of Genesis. One has the vision of God, the effulgent divine light. It is called the state of God realization. Disciple. How a disciple knows the Vindu raised by the Guru has reached the Agni Chakram, Guru. When the Vindu raised by the Guru from Mooladharam join the Sukshma Vindu at the Agni Chakram between the eyebrows, one becomes unconscious as long as they are enjoined. Consciousness will come back only when they are separated. During prayers and meditation, the practitioner will be in an awakened state only. That's the reason ancient Siddharavayar grandma stated that Karuthinai Kalal Eluppi, awaken consciousness by the breath, Kalal Vinduvai Eluppi, awaken the Vindu by the breath. When physical Vindu joins Sukshma Vindu, a light appears due to the fire and one becomes unconscious. In this way, one may come to know that both physical and Sukshma Vindu have joined together. One becomes conscious when they are separated. We can understand that when these two Vindu are separated, we will be conscious of worldly affairs, and when they are joined, we were in a state of God realization. Disciple. Is Vindu located only in Mooladharam or somewhere else? Guru. Men have two types of Vindu. Similarly, women also have two types of gametes, which is Suronidam. First one called the physical Vindu or sperm is located below the hip region. The second one called Sukshma Vindu, Nadam, is located between the eyebrows. To activate this, only in our religion, we follow the practice of applying white holy ash, sandal paste and red kumkum on the spot. This external application continuously creates a sensation so that the mind is focusing on that area to keep the subtle window in action to help us to perform better in all our activities every day. The subtle and the physical form of the window must join together for procreation. Both join in a process similar to the formation of bubbles on the surface of the water. A bubble is formed when the air is entrapped in the water. The air is contained within a thin spherical layer of the water to form the bubble. The bubble will burst when the air inside is released. Similar to this process, during the male-female copulation, the Sukshma Vindu descends to form a microscopic bubble with physical Vindu at the male sex organ and is ejaculated into the female sex organ. Then only human fertilization will happen. If there is no Sukshma Vindu, fertilization will not happen. The Sukshma Vindu is in the form of subtle melody nadam, arm sound, air and fire. The physical Vindu is in the form of water, fire and air. The taste of physical Vindu is salty. No taste for the other one. One can see the physical Vindu and the other one is invisible. However, if there is no Sukshma Vindu, then fertilization will not happen. Sukshma Vindu or Nadam acts as a Atma for humans. However, for the stillborn baby, Sukshma Vindu forms only after its birth, when the selected Atma enters its body. Animals like elephants and cow copulate only for procreation. Humans, chicken and sparrow enjoy copulation without any restriction. However, fertilization happens only once. Disciple, what obstacles to be overcome to continue in spiritual path to attain mukti? Guru, someone has started on the path of spirituality to attain mukti. What to do if the attachments like anger and lust continue to disturb them? What obstacles to be overcome to continue in spiritual path to attain mukti? It is natural for normal human beings to have propensities like lust, vengeance and anger. Jnanam is different from nature. After attaining Jnanam, all the above characteristics will not disturb you. You will be at peace with yourself. When you are at peace, keep your mind focused on God instead of the world. This will lead you to the path of mukti. Disciple, is it possible for divorced people to search for Jnanam? Guru, you are advising your disciples that they must search for Jnanam while leading their family life. Is it possible for divorced people? Yes, it's possible. If you are living with your family, then continue to lead your family life in a peaceful way and search for Jnanam, and you will attain it. You must perform only the duties required for your family life. You should not become part of all the activities happening around you. If you become part of these activities, then you will not be able to attain Jnanam. Either you are with family or living alone, it is the same. It means you should do all the activities needed to continue your life and should not indulge in any of this actively. If you lead your family life like this, definitely you can attain it. It is possible for people who got separated from the family also to attain Jnanam, provided you should avoid thinking about the separation. You should be happy that the attachment to the family is not there now. You are alone to pursue your goal without any disturbance. You must think that it is an opportunity for you to get attached to God and not to people. If you develop this mindset, then definitely it is possible for you to attain Jnanam and Mukti. Chapter number 5. Desire, Fate, Karmam and Charity. Disciple, what are desire, affection and lust? Guru, to reach God, one must get rid of desire, affection and lust. Then only one can reach God. People who indulge in desire, affection and lust will move away from God. Desires originate in our heart. We forget God and start looking for ways to fulfill our desires. Normally people remember God when they get entangled in some troublesome situations. Only then people think of praying to God. Till that time, one thinks that I did this, I am doing that and I can do everything. One cannot do anything without God's help. Only God can do all these activities through you and also give rewards and punishment for the good and the bad deeds. Only God can protect us. Even Guru cannot do it. If you understand this, then only we can say that you have attained Jnanam. If one does not understand this, then they have not attained Jnanam. Spirituality is moving away from the comforts of the world. If one is interested in comfort, then they must choose the path of bhakti, which is Jnanam, and not the path of God realization. If you see the pictures of scientists, they all grow long hair and beard, similar to the people engaged in spiritual path. But scientists are not searching for God. Even scientists change their appearance, similar to the seekers of God, while the Anyani always takes care of their appearance to look better with all the costly, flashy dresses and jewels. These people are unable to lead a natural life. At the time of earthquake at Indonesia, the animals living near the beach started running towards the land. People around them were unable to understand the sudden change in their behavior. These animals are considered to be less intelligent than human beings. All the human beings who are endowed with 6 senses unable to understand the changes in the nature, whereas these animals understood the nature and were running away from the oncoming danger. Then how can we say we are intelligent? Only after the earthquake we measure the extent and the level of the earthquake. What type of intelligence are we revealing? Only those living beings living in harmony with the nature understand the changes in the nature and impending calamities, whereas human beings are unable to understand it. We don't know when we are going to go. God is not in the appearance. Appearance is only for identification. We have to look for the truth. People are going to Kasi, the holy city of Varanasi, on the banks of the holy river Gangai, to cleanse themselves of their sins. As a part of this ritual, people drop some vegetable or fruit in the river water and telling that we have dropped all our sins in the water. Who did those sinful deeds? Is it vegetables or we? If people cut their fingers or any other part and drop them into the water, then we can accept that they have done a remedial act. Now we can understand that the ritualistic spiritualism is simply cheating ourselves. People don't have intelligence to know all these and are unable to understand the truth even if we tell them. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa used to tell the following story about a devotee asking him, Sami, if I go to Kasi to take a holy dip in river Gangai, will I get rid of all my sins? Ramakrishna Paramahamsa replied that it is true. Then the devotee asked, if it is true, then when I come back after doing it, I'm not feeling that my sins have left me. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa smiled and replied, when did you leave your sins? Before taking the holy dip in the river Gangai, you kept all your sins on the nearby trees. After taking the holy dip, when you came out of the water, you took back all the sins you left on the trees on the banks of the river. Because continuing and maintaining the same sinful activities gives comfort to one to continue that activity, whether it is sinful or not. If one does not have enough money to lead a family life, then they fight with their wife. However, he will not leave his wife. He will tell all his friends that no one can cook like his wife. It is very difficult to change a person's mind, whereas Atma is a sacred one and carries all the sins committed by the mind and looks for a suitable body to enter and cleanse itself of all the karma. Finally, when it selects a suitable body and takes birth as a child, it comes out with its hands closed. When the relatives pay their visit to bless the newborn baby, they insert the rolls of cash into the baby's hand and bless the newborn baby that it should become a doctor, engineer, and a businessman. The child is diverted from the purpose of which it took birth in this world, which is to clear all the karma and end the cycle of birth and death. However, the elders change the purpose of the life of the child by sowing the seeds of their unfulfilled desires into the baby's mind and block the path of the child for which it has taken birth. People aspiring to embark on the spiritual path may have a lot of business interests and they have to reduce them to a level to spare time for spiritual practice. If you come to Guru, you must follow the directions of the Guru. Some people come to the Guru and they will tell that I have a lot of work to do. These kinds of people are not fit to embark on the spiritual path. People have come to the spiritual path only to get rid of all these troubles, but they are not able to understand it and are unable to understand the truth. We can teach people what they don't know, but it is difficult to teach what they already know. Most people clearly know what is good, what is bad, which is God, what is life. These people lead a life knowing all this, only unable to change the way one is leading their life now. Illusion pulls them in its way. It has a very dominant position in the life of every human being and ultimately lands them in the pit of misery and suffering. Many jnanis died due to terrible diseases. For example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had cancer in his throat and Ramana Maharishi had cancer in his hand. These wise men had come to the spiritual path at the tender age of 10. They don't have any bad habits and they were not connected with any unwanted activity, but they died due to deadly diseases. Why should they undergo this kind of difficulties? What is the reason for this? It is because of their disciples. It happened because when a guru is giving the lessons on the yogic practice to the disciples, the guru undertakes a pledge on their behalf to the God. Whether this person is good or bad, they have come to me and believing that I could help them realize God. Guru informs the God that he trusts him, that he will help my disciples to reach you. You must show them the right path and I will tell them the entire good things. For example, one must avoid eating non-vegetarian. Eating the flesh of some other living being after killing it is not good for spiritual path. The moment one hears this condition, some people who are addicted to the taste of the meat withdraw from the spiritual path because they are slave to their tongues. One who cannot overcome their tongue will not be able to withstand the difficulties encountered in the path for searching God. These people come and trouble me. Gurunadhar. Whatever one eats, that becomes their blood. that itself transforms into the character. Then how can that person's activities be good when they eat meat from animals which kick and bite? Eating the meat of these animals will not develop right propensities for the mind. People following yogic path must follow strict discipline in their daily life and not in lectures and discourses. People engaged in worshipping God in temples through bhakti can speak one thing and do different things. We are not qualified to speak about them or correct them. It is their desire. People following Raja Yogic practice by the instructions from a guru must follow those instructions strictly. Otherwise, the person who is deviating from the instructions of the guru will incur effects of the bad deeds and activities. Not only that person incurs the wrath of God, the guru also has a share in the effects of the bad deeds of their disciples. For example, people of a particular caste in India are allowed to cut cow and eat it. It is considered not to be a sin. At the same time, there is another caste in India. For them, even eating an egg is considered to be a sin. It is because the people eating the cow meat don't know what is sin. The people are not allowed to eat egg are highly educated in the scriptures and knowledgeable about the activities causing sin. For the people following the path of devotion, eating an egg itself is considered a sinful activity. Consider the case of people engaged in spiritual path. It is the fundamental principle for people who are engaged in spiritual path must avoid eating meat. When a person joins an ashramam, they must follow the rules and regulations followed there. This is discipline. After receiving the instructions from Guru, the disciple continues to do whatever they were doing previously is neither good for the disciple nor the Guru. It is the fate of that person for not following the Guru's instructions. Guru can't do anything for these type of people getting into trouble in their life. One should always speak truth. God resides only in truth. Stay away from praises and material desires. Just earn for the basic needs. If one keeps on accumulating all the material things available, then at the end, one cannot take it with them. Even your own body will not come with you at the end of the life. Then why should you desire for everything available? One only requires 3 meals a day and a place to stay. You should think this itself is enough. Why do you want to accumulate more than what you need by making others unhappy? If you accumulate wealth by making others unhappy, then someone not connected with you will take it away from you. The person engaged in devotional path can do this. People engaged in yogic practice to attain jnanam should avoid it. Ancient Siddhar composed the following stanza to emphasize this point. Asai arumingal, asai arumingal. Get rid of desires, get rid of desires. Isanodu ayinum asai arumingal. Even with God, get rid of desires. Asai padapada aivarum tunbangal. Desire after desire brings avalanche of sufferings. Asai vida vida anandamame. Oh, what a bliss on riddance of desires. One should not be complacent after realizing God, that this disease will not trouble me. The power of illusion will throw you down in the middle of the street. Hence, one should be careful even after realizing God. The methods of worshipping God are different for different people. In ritualistic prayers and worship, people spend a lot of money. In the yogic method of worship, people are not ready to spend their money at the same time. At the same time, they are ready to spend millions of rupees for temples and ritualistic worship and prayers. In recent times, one must have money even to go to temples for worshipping. The temple priest will give you the holy ash only if you donate at least 5 rupees. If you drop only a few coins, then the holy ash will float in the air. Most of us are following this type of worship only. However, there is an intelligent way of worshipping also. Only in our religion there are methods for God realization by the aspirants directly. It is such a holy religion. However, people are not interested to become holy and to join a holy religion. Attaining jnanam is not a trivial affair. You will be pestered by the thoughts of your past. These thoughts will subside only when your 5 senses calm down. Disciple, what is desire? Is desire required for life? Guru, one has to realize God that is within us. One cannot either take a loan from God or lend a loan to God. There is no profit or loss when you have desire for God. If there is no desire, then I do not exist. However, it has to be within you. It should not come out into this world. If your desire comes out into this world, it will result only in suffering. To manage your life, you may need a few hundred rupees for a day. This may be enough for a simple life of a moderate family. But if you desire in thousands of rupees, then you have to go in the wrong ways. When you go in the wrong way, you will encounter various troubles. Then you must be ready to bear them. Desire is similar to your life. It should be within yourself. However, greediness will get you into a lot of trouble and suffering. That is the reason Buddha advised us to eradicate our desires completely. Desire is the foundation for all our sufferings. How can a human being get rid of desires? Only a dead body will not have any desire. All human beings will have desire within themselves. A person can have a desire to marry one wife, but due to greediness, if a person marries 5 wives, and the result will be misery and sufferings. That is why your desire must be within a limit. When the desire is turned towards God, then there is no suffering. If your desire runs into this world, then you will end up in suffering only. The Ramayana epic anti-hero, Ravanan, the emperor of Sri Lanka, had the intelligence and physical strength of 10 people, showed in picture with 10 heads and 20 hands. He is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Shiva. He is the best player of the special musical instrument Veena, made out of his bones to please Lord Shiva, and got powerful boons. However, he lost his life, sons, and the kingdom due to the desire over Sita, the wife of Lord Rama. Disciple, is there hell and heaven? Some religion is promising heaven. Is it true? Guru, no religion can send human beings to heaven. It is possible for religions to send people to hell, definitely, and not to heaven. There is no such corporate enterprise called hell and heaven. Both hell and heaven are in this earth only. If you lead a luxurious life in this world, then you live in heaven. If you lead a life full of sufferings, then you lead your life in hell. Human life is determined only by their mind. The mind may lead you to heaven or hell. No religion can correct this. The pioneer, Siddharagatiyar, the great saint, clearly informed that religion cannot take you to heaven. It is possible only by the human mind. Sutriye alaivadillai soocham soocham. The secret of secret is not to wander around. Suriyile nindrale mocham mocham. Focused attention on your Suramunai or Agni Chakram will lead you to liberation or moksham. You will go to heaven only if your mind is focused at the Suramunai or the Agni Chakram. It is also called Pati. Literal meaning in Tamil is the Lord. It is the place of divine bliss and the abode of God within us. Our body is called Pasu. Literal meaning in Tamil is cow. Our mind is called Pasam, affections and attachments. Our mind carries all the affections and attachments of this world, representing the hell. Our body carries both, hence hell and heaven are within you. No religion in this world can send human beings to heaven or hell. Disciple, do planets determine human life? Guru, yes, the planets determine human life on this earth. Every human being must think about their life only. If they start thinking about themselves, then they will understand. We always think that only I am suffering, whereas my neighbors are all living well. Some people are doing a lot of atrocities, but continue to lead a happy life. Like this, we are looking at others and speaking about them. Because of this, we are unable to lead our life properly. Just before our home, there are blind people, people without legs, people who cannot speak and hear. We are also living with them, and we are living well with our faculties. We never think about these differently abled people. Why are they suffering like this? We always compare ourselves with those people who are living better than us. What is the reason for this? We are thinking that God is creating people into rich, beggars, weak, strong, good and bad. If God has to make people like these, then one God cannot do all this. We need hundreds of gods because God must inquire about every human being. Then only God can decide about the punishment for every human being. From this, what we understand is that there is no relationship between God and our life. That is the reason I used to tell an example. When we get white cloth from the textile mill, it will be like milky white. After wearing many times, the dirt will get into it. Even after washing it for many times, you cannot get the original whiteness of the cloth. Similarly, God has created us as pure Atma. When we get immersed in the mud of desire, started rolling in it, and lose our purity. Even God is searching for the pure human beings and unable to find them because the object which God created is lost in the mud of desires. They are unable to understand it. Human beings are suffering because they are not willing to help others. They are not able to think about helping others. If they start thinking about doing good to others, then their sufferings will slowly come down. They will reach a stage where all the sufferings will be cleared and the next birth will be a clean birth. Disciple, if planets influence human life, then is it possible to change it through Yogam? Guru, yes, it is possible. If one is going through difficult time, then change it to a favorable time. People believe by offering a lamp lighted using the shell of a lemon to the worshipping idol of Saturn planet in the temples and circumambulation of the idol 9 times daily for the next 27 days. The idol of the Saturn planet in the temple is designed by human beings only. It doesn't do anything. However, the belief about doing that ritual will set right the difficulties, and the exercise of circumambulation alters the pranan, that is the life energy of the breath of the human beings, which brings harmony to the energy of the influencing planets' changes in our activities towards successful results. These are meant only for ordinary human beings living in day and night. These don't apply to siddhas, jnanis, and realized sages. There are no good and bad times, day and night, for the siddhas and sages. Disciple, what is fate and writing on the head, which is talayurthu? Guru. If one buys a home, it must be registered with the office of the registrar to formalize the ownership of the property. Similarly, at the time of one's birth, the record of all the good and bad deeds done by that person in the previous birth is registered, and with that record of the registry, one takes birth in this world. We are living according to the records in the registry. We have to understand the secret of our birth. We have noticed that there are a lot of differently able people who have defects like unable to hear, unable to speak, and unable to walk. Do you think God has allowed these people to take birth with these defects? There is no relationship between the people taking birth with defects and God. Whatever one has done in previous births, they have to go through the effect of those actions of the previous birth. This is the process of cleaning one's record of the previous birth. For this, one has to experience the good and bad effects of the previous birth to clear the records. Once the records are cleaned of all good and bad effects, one has to put in efforts to maintain it clean by cultivating good habits and thoughts about our writing on the head, whether it is responsible for all these, and how it is written on our head. When the fetus is growing in the womb of the mother, the top of its head will not close until the 8th month. Since the top of the head of the fetus in the mother's womb is open, it keeps both hands close to its ears and floating in the water of the womb. The fetus is growing in the water of the mother's womb. The fetus will not survive without this water. The shape of the fetus is like a seed germinating out of the soil. The fetus in the mother's womb is in the shape of the cosmic sound, Am. Nature itself is the cosmic sound, Am. The mother's breathing through the umbilical cord helps the fetus to grow. The food eaten by the mother supplies the nutrients for the fetus to grow. The breathing of the mother leaves the fetus through the top of its head, which is open. That is the reason it is floating. Just before delivery, top of the head of the fetus will close. Since the top of the head is closed, the breathing which entered the fetus through the umbilical cord from the mother is unable to get out and starts pushing the fetus out. The fetus comes out of the mother's womb, head and hands first. It is not so. Only the fetus in the womb is trying to get out of the mother. All the parts of the body of the child will be in good condition. The top of the head of the stillborn is soft because it is closed at the last. The child carries the effects of good and bad deeds, karmam, of the previous birth.